Okay, good night everyone. We're here with the semi-weekly Zelda 2 randomizer race. We have tonight RoseCitySaint on the top left, Thirwolf on the top right, Trails on the bottom left, and Error72 on the bottom right. Okay, so today's flags are fire combined, 3 heart containers, so everybody's gonna be dying a lot. And Trails finds the magic container cave. We're gonna see what item he gets in there. Very bad enemies there. So let's see how RoseCitySaint deals with that Dyra that throws axes. And it's the hammer. Okay, Error72 also in the magic container cave takes a death, and Rose City starts exploring that mountain because he has the hammer to get into a spectacle rock. So in this moment, Thirwolf enters the one of the item caves, and RoseCitySaint gets Hammer Cave early. Thirwolf gets the magic key. Okay, we switched streams with Ryan on the bottom left, and he got the hammer, finds the back of the town of Sadia, and we're gonna find out what RoseCitySaint finds in Hammer Cave, and it's a magic heart container, which is kind of good, but I think he was looking for the spectacle rock. So Thirwolf gets the mirror to get the spell in the town of Sadia, which gets him the spell of jump. Error72 also getting the hammer, the heart container in Hammer Cave. Okay, and Thirwolf gets into the grass tile, which has another heart container. And Thirwolf also finds the town of Rauru, which has a free spell. We're gonna find out what spell this is. And RoseCitySaint also gets the key. And ryin7 in the medicine cave is gonna get the boots, which is a very useful item to explore the overworld, especially. So everyone is exploring the west and getting a lot of heart containers. And the first spells, RoseCitySaint and ryin7 are getting the spell of jump in this moment from the town of Saria. I missed the spell that Thirwolf got from the town of Rauru. So if anyone can comment what that spell was, it will be great. We'll try to see if he uses it. So the town of Ruto is on the northeast of the west side, and the town of Mito is right next to it. For those towns you need an item. For the town of Mito you need to find the medicine, and for the town of Ruto you need to find the trophy. In this case, Thirwolf is getting in because he has the jump spell, and he can get the downstab tech from the warrior, which is very useful because you can skip a lot of enemies and your fighting improves a whole lot. So Error gets a key, and we're gonna see what the spell in Rauru was, because RoseCitySaint is in this moment in the town of Rauru. And the spell is the spell of thunder, and I didn't see how much it costs, but with Magic Wand it should be pretty expensive. I was telling you about the flags. So the flags involve that we start with the candle so we can see what is inside of the caves. Also the 3 heart containers, which nobody has in this moment because everyone has gotten heart containers. So Thirwolf is in the pivot cave, so we're gonna see what item he gets in there. In this moment, players try to get a lot of experience points, so they level up before placing gems. Okay, so in Pivot Cave we've got the raft, which is the item that everyone is looking for in this moment. So Thirwolf, I dare to say he kind of has the lead in this moment. RoseCitySaint meanwhile getting into Medicine Cave to get what I think is a heart container. Okay, RoseCitySaint just got the boots, so they can explore a lot more. And Thirwolf is hopping into a palace, which could be 3 or 6. He just wanted to kill the Iron Knuckle to get experience points, I believe. So almost everyone has the boots in this moment. Okay, Thirwolf is gonna head into oh no, I just messed up. I think he already went in there. He's getting into Palace 4, which he cannot beat in this moment because he doesn't have the spell of Reflect, which is necessary to kill the boss, Kadok. Oh cool, I hear myself in the background. My accent. Okay. Yeah, just in case you're listening to this, Fizzle, you have your microphone on, so we're hearing all the background noise. Okay, so RoseCitySaint is in Trophy Cave, and he's gonna get an item there, which he hopes is an useful item. Meanwhile, Thirwolf is exploring the east. So this is the first time that we get a glimpse in the east. RoseCitySaint got a magic container, which can be useful. Not what he wanted, but it's okay. Now Thirwolf is in the town of Naboru, which has a free spell, so he's gonna get it. Also ryin7 getting into Trophy Cave for the magic container. So the spell is the spell of Shield, which is useful, not what players want, because it is not vital for completing the game, but still it helps with fights, with bosses, with defending yourself, not dying, not game overing, which is kind of what takes a lot of time out of you, game overing a lot. Oh, it's a very rocky east, a lot of tiny roads. Thankfully he didn't get any first encounter there, Thirwolf. And he gets into the town of Darunia, which has a spell, but you need to have the kit to get that spell. However, Thirwolf gets back in because he wants to get some health, and maybe he'll get the tech of Upstab, which can be helpful, especially with bats and moas and some enemies that are easier to kill with that tech. So RoseCitySaint and ryin7 are finishing exploring the west. They haven't found what they want yet. Yeah, chat is pretty quiet. I hope you help me if I mess up, or if I don't get any important developments. Just in case you don't know, this Randomizer was developed by a guy named Dick Shake. This is one of the newer versions that has a randomized overworld, randomized palaces. So it's a very, very, very unique game every time. So Thirwolf is getting some experience points from the desert tile, and Error72 gets into the water tile to get a magic container. Not what he wanted, but he'll take it. And it seems that everyone is getting to explore the east. RoseCitySaint chooses to dig a bit more dead mountains, so if he finds the spectacle rock, and he does. Let's see what it has. It has the flute, which I believe it's not necessary, because I think I saw the River Devil and it was not blocking anything. I could be wrong. So I gotta thank Duster W, who is helping me with the tracking, which is very useful. He's the one that has been commenting lately. He's a great commenter and great player. So thank you for helping me. And they get Ryan and Thirwolf get into the town of Olkasudo and get the spell of Reflect, which is huge. It's very important, so because that spell lets you beat the boss of Palace 4, which is the boss called Karak. So far RoseCitySaint, I believe he's salty, because both items in that mountain were kind of useless, and he lost kind of a bit of time there. And yeah, of course the River Devil is not blocking anything, so yeah, pretty useless items in that mountain. So he hates that mountain, and today he chose to get in there, so he must be very salty in this moment. Okay, I've seen some guides get some one-ups in the tiles, which can help, especially if you don't want to game over and lose some time because you game over. At the beginning I kind of liked that mountain, but lately, yeah, that mountain it's a huge bet, and yeah, it should be hated. It's bad. It's bad news. So everyone is exploring the east, getting through the pass-through caves that the east has. The east has a lot of pass-through caves because Valley of Death in the vanilla game has 2 caves, so besides the pass-through caves that vanilla has, it has those 2 extra caves, so they tend to be important to explore parts that you can't explore without the caves. Okay, now Ryan gets into Maze Island, where he will get 2 free items, which are kind of a pain in the ass to find, but they tend to be important. Let's see if they are, and we'll see also what palace lies into the Maze Island of this Sith. So now RoseCitySaint is going to get the spell of Reflect from Old Kazuto, which is gonna make him a little bit happy after what he has gone through. And Thirwolf decides to start exploring a palace, which I believe is Palace 2. And he finds the item immediately. So let's see what item he gets in there. He's getting trolled by that item knuckle, but he gets the hang of it, and we're gonna see that it's another heart container. This seed is full of love for the runners tonight. A lot of hearts. We're gonna also see what the Dripper has. He doesn't I believe he doesn't like to farm experience in these palaces. So let's see what he does if he finds the boss quickly. Meanwhile, Error getting the cross, which lets you see some enemies called Moas, which are like flying eyes that are very ridiculously hard, especially when you can't see them. Now Error gets into Maze Island. Let's see if he finds the items. So Error gets the first item, which is in the cave that in vanilla version has the kid, and it is another magic container, so he has 7 magic containers, which can be good news for the time when he arrives to the town of New Kazuto. When you arrive to that town, there is a lady that asks you for 5, 6, or 7 magic containers. So he already met those requirements, so he can get the item that is in that house. RoseCitySaint finding the river devil, which is blocking a part of the sea. Maybe it is useful. He finds an item cave. Let's see what that item cave has. And Thirwolf finds the boss of Palace 2, whose name I don't know. Maybe the only boss I don't know the name of. Well, the horsehead. I also don't know the name of that guy. It's a Japanese name, and I don't remember it. And he dies, and he's gonna take on him again. And I missed what RoseCitySaint got in the P-back cave. Can anyone tell me? Wow, so the glove is in Maze Island. Error gets the glove. I believe it was the glove. Sometimes, especially when the colors are changed, like they are on this seed, you confuse some of the items on the tiny streams. So Thirwolf finishes his first palace. However, Error with the glove has a lot of more tranquility in this moment. Yeah, it's cool listening to Big John in the background. He is a lot more entertaining than I am. So now RoseCitySaint is digging Maze Island. He's gonna find some good items in there. And Ryan finds the boss of Palace 1, which is the horsehead. So RoseCitySaint is gonna get the magic container in the Kid Cave. And I hope he gets the glove soon. And Error getting the item, which is the medicine. So that's very good he can go for the spell in the town of Miro with the medicine. Now Thirwolf exploring Palace 4, which now he can beat because he has the spell of Reflect. So Thirwolf meets a dead end in the Palace of 4, so he's gonna explore the bottom part of it. Rose City, I believe he is in Palace 1. And Ryan is digging for the items in Maze Island. Looking for the glove, which he doesn't know it's there, but he still hasn't found it. I didn't see how difficult it was to be found. Because so far 3 guys have explored the Maze Island and only 1 has gotten the glove, so now Thirwolf is getting another heart container from Palace 4. Meanwhile, Error is gonna face Horsehead, which is the boss of Palace 1. Palace 1 is the shortest, but these guys have taken a bit of time in Palace 1, so I believe it was kind of tricky. So if the item in Pivot Cave was the cross, I believe the River Devil wasn't needed, right? It was easy to bypass. Okay, so Error72 finds the trophy in the desert tile, so I bet he's gonna go cash those spells, and if he gets the spell of Fairy, I think he's ready to go finish the game. So Error gets into another palace, which is could be 3 or 6. I believe this is 3, maybe. So far in this to this moment, everyone has beaten one of the bosses, but the guy that has the advantage in this moment is Error72, because he found the glove, he found 2 of the spell items, which are the trophy and the medicine, and well, the other items I believe everyone else gotten, he already has, so he really is in the lead in this moment from these 4 players. So just as a trivia thing, in the Speedruns Live position table, Error72 lies in the 3rd position. So let's see how he does today to get up in that table. So RoseCitySaint finding another hard container in the town of New Kazuto. And Ryan using the spell to get into that huge house that resembles a part of the male body, in which lies the kid, which he'll use to go to the town of Darunia and cast his spell. RoseCitySaint also getting the spell, so he'll go to the end of the town and invoke that house that has that very suggestive shape. And he will also find the kid. Thirwolf doesn't take a chance and uses the jump spell to get over that half bridge that Palace 4 has. Meanwhile, Error is fighting one of the mini bosses of Palace 6, which is a Rebo. There are 2 of those bosses. One is guarding an item and the other one is guarding the boss in the vanilla version. But in Randomizer, this guy can guard a dead end, or who knows what he can guard. And Thirwolf getting to fight Karok, which is the boss of Palace 4. Yeah, everyone is falling at the same time. I love the sound effect of falling in this game. It's kind of cartoonish, but it's cool. So RoseCitySaint digging Palace 2. Meanwhile, Error finds Barba, which is the boss of Palace 6. Let's see how he jackhammers this guy. He's kind of playing it safely. He's almost dead, so I believe he's gonna play it extra safely. But he still is getting like 5 or 6 hits every time he appears, which is impossible for mortals like me. Ryan getting the tech of upstab. Meanwhile, Thirwolf is exploring Palace 3. And yeah, nobody got the glove. And I'm pretty sure it was in Maze Island, so I believe it was in a very tricky position because nobody got it. Or I haven't seen them get the glove. So Ryan got the spell in Darunia, which I didn't see. what it was. Oh yeah, RoseCitySaint got it. Yeah, yeah. I have to take a remedy class on reading the tracker. And Thirwolf finds the item on Palace 6, which is a pea bag. And he must be hating it in this moment. But he got it anyway. Okay, so Ryan getting the spell in the town of Naboru, which is the spell of shield. And meanwhile, RoseCitySaint is placing a gem on Palace 2, having defeating the first 2 bosses, while Thirwolf is facing the boss of Palace 3, which is the Ribonek. He fails the downstab technique that we all use, but most of us fail most of the times. Let's see if he gets it this time, especially when the floor is with this pattern, which is very hard to read. It's very hard to get the exact position in which you have to downstab this guy. Yeah, so still Thirwolf gets him into the spot and kills him. So he's gonna place his 3rd gem, which in theory has him in the lead. However, I didn't see if he got the glove. I don't know. I tend to believe he did, but I don't know. Thirwolf is one of the revelations of this year. He was very well known in the world of Zelda 1, and now he's kicking some asses in the world of Zelda 2 Randomizer. He's become very good, and he gets some good racers, and he gets the boots, which he hadn't gotten so far. Meanwhile, Error is trying to get the Echo Key room skip because he doesn't have the spell of Fairy, and that it looks like that room is required to be passed through, so he's gonna fall on top of one of those 2 lights to see if he can get to the other side, but it's giving him a pain in the ass, and he's closer to death than closer to getting it. So he quits and decides to explore more places on Palace 5. Meanwhile, Ryan is praying to Princess Zelda so she can help him find where the items that he's missing are. And Thirwolf taking a dive into one of the first encounters. So Error gets the item in Palace 5, which is a payback. So Thirwolf decided to explore a part that was blocked by some encounters and found a dead end. So it was bad news for him, and he's getting trolled by the enemies in that part. Error trying again to get the skip in Echo Key room. Let's see if he gets it. It could be a good moment for him. However, that glitch is kind of hard. Well, the runners of Zelda 2 kind of have to have it very well prepared, but maybe because this is Randomizer, it's a lot harder to pull off. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint is fighting Karok to beat his third boss. Yeah, Ryan just took a 2-minute nap, and he has come back with new energy to beat everyone up. So he finds the item in Palace 2, which was, I don't remember what it was. Heart container, maybe? Magic container? Heart container. Okay. And he got it! He got the cookie room skip. He lost a lot of time there, but I hope it's worth it. Yeah, so in this moment, RoseCitySaint and Error are the ones who kind of are in the lead. But, well, I don't know. Error has some items, some spell items that RoseCitySaint doesn't have. So we'll see how this plays out. However, Error only has killed 2 bosses, but he has defeated one of the longest palaces, which is Palace 6. So it could be anyone's race in this moment. And RoseCitySaint placing his 4th gem. Thirwolf finding the item in this palace. which I think he's gonna let him down. Oh no, it's the medicine. I forgot that medicine was in this palace. So that's good for him. Meanwhile, Ryan fighting the boss of Palace 2. So RoseCitySaint heading into the town of Nido to get his spell, while Ryan is placing his second gem. So it's the spell of fire, which we don't know what is linked to. I believe it was linked to the jump spell, because he was jumpy as soon as he got it. Well, you gotta commend RoseCitySaint because he took like a 5 to 10 minute delay into Death Mountain, and he's doing very good. He's gonna get the spell in the town of Ruto. We're gonna see what that spell is. Everyone is hoping for the spell of fairy, and he gets it. So RoseCitySaint in this moment has 4 bosses defeated, has the glove, and has the spell he needs, the spells he needs. So he's going to go finish the game, finish the Palace 5 and Palace 6, and then head into Great Palace. So he's looking good. Meanwhile, Error fighting Guma, which is one of the hardest bosses of this game. He's playing it safe, however he's doing very good. Taking an average of 1.5 hits per cycle. While Ryan gets to see what the spell in Palace 4 is, and finds his heart container. This seed is full of love. So Error takes an intentional game over, which you do pressing up and A on the second controller, and goes into Palace 2. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint is exploring to find Palace 6, I believe. So up till now, we've got RoseCitySaint and Thirwolf with 4 bosses defeated, Ryan with 2 bosses defeated, and Error72 with 3 bosses defeated. However, Ryan doesn't have the glove, I believe, and Thirwolf has the glove. Error placing his gem. Now Thirwolf getting into the town of New Kasuto. He needs the 7 magic containers, so that's too bad for him. And he's gonna get the spell. And get the item at the end of the town, which I believe is the kid. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint going for some tech, the upstab. Upstab is sometimes needed for completing the game because there are some rooms in Great Palace that need it. Error finding his heart container in Palace 4, while Thirwolf is finding the key. And RoseCitySaint getting his spell from Darunia. Maybe if he has enough experience, he can spell the spell, so he can spell his enemies. And he can also spell his names. So I'm watching another stream of another of the players, and I see that the item that the lady in New Kasuto had is a heart container. So Thirwolf didn't miss that match for arriving there with only 6 magic containers. So in this moment, Ryan and Error are in Palace 4, I believe, while RoseCitySaint and Thirwolf are on Palace 5, maybe? Or 6. That looked like 6. Yeah, it is 6. I get nervous when I do commentary, so I forget what the rooms inside the palaces are. RoseCitySaint taking the drop and finding the dead end room, and Ryan is placing his 3rd gem on Palace 4. So far a very straightforward seed, I believe. It's only that maybe the seed suggested some weird positions for the items, and everyone kind of went for non-conventional places. But the items were they were pretty in the open. So Ryan getting the spell, 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 spell. I'm sorry, he got the fire spell, which was linked to the jump spell. Yeah, this Zelda is fluffy, like Breath of the Wild. So the thing about this Zelda is that it was made by a team that wasn't the team that did Zelda 1, because everyone at Nintendo was busy doing Mario 3. So they got an alternate team doing this Zelda, and well, it is a love-hate game. In this case, the guys that run Randomizer love it. I really love this game. I think it's a very, very good game that introduced a lot of things for another games in the future, but a lot of people hate it because, well, it's very different from the others. RoseCitySaint fighting Barba, which is his second to last boss. And ryin7 getting the flute in that mountain. So he should be salty. Useless Dead Mountain is one of the worst things that can happen to you in life if you explore that mountain, right? And RoseCitySaint, Thirwolf also finds Barba. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint giving his finishing touches, and he has to be careful because he is very low on life. He's almost there. Meanwhile, Ryan is still exploring that mountain, so he's gonna find the Hammer Cave eventually, which has nothing for him. A magic container, I believe. So RoseCitySaint heading for his last palace, and as you can see, it could be anyone's race because RoseCitySaint was on the lead, but he did the shorter palaces, while Error72 did already the longest palaces. So in this moment, they both are one gem away, and even Error is in the lead because he is inside the palace he needs to beat. And Thirwolf also finishing his 5th palace. So everybody looking good for the finish of the seed, except for Ryan, who is suffering the wrath of Death Mountain. Yeah, that's a very good subtitle for this game. The Legend of Zelda: Downward Stab. With very bad pronunciation from yours truly, Victor Santa Fe. Okay, Thirwolf heading into the town of Darunia, so he gets a spell, which I think is the... No, I don't remember what spell it is. It was the spell of life, which is good, especially for Great Palace and defeating Thunderbird. The spell of life is very good. Spell of shield and spell of life. RoseCitySaint getting through Echo Key Room with the fairy spell, which he has. However, I don't know if Error has the fairy spell. I think he definitely has the required item to catch that spell, but I don't know if he has gone to catch it. Meanwhile, Thirwolf is the one who goes to catch it, the fairy spell. So Error dives right into Great Palace. So we are playing a shorter version of Great Palace today, which has 30% of the rooms taken out. So we'll see how long it is. Error taking the first drop, a leap of faith in the Eon room, and it pays off. He finds Thunderbird right away. Yeah, I don't wish exploring an useless dead mountain to anyone. Not even my worst enemies, man. That sucks. And in this case, it is also costing RoseCitySaint, who is still digging Palace 5. Meanwhile, Error is already on Thunderbird. So, when you fight Thunderbird, you usually manipulate his movement into a pendulum, and Error did so beautifully. And now exploring the rest of Great Palace. The thing about Great Palace is that Thunderbird is kind of a marker to not get lost. But when you get an early Thunderbird, that means that behind that Thunderbird there is a lot of the rooms of that Great Palace behind him. So in this case, it could be a good thing, especially for amateur players like me, who prefer to beat Thunderbird as soon as possible, so to not take any risks. But for most cases it's bad to find him early, because that leaves a lot of the palace to explore behind him. So now he found a dead end. He found a room that doesn't usually come up, and he preferred to take the left and go down to this waffle and chicken room. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint fighting with Guma. And I can confirm that favorite players Dick Shake and Eunice are behind in this moment. They are. Dick Shake is in Palace 5, I believe. And Eunice is looking for Great Palace, so he's a little bit ahead of RoseCitySaint. Okay, so Error is having a nightmare into that waffle and chicken room. But he's dealing with it. He's a very good player, so he survives. And Eunice got into Great Palace. And Error finds Dark Link, which shouldn't be a problem for him. Let's see how he deals with him. So GG for Error72, the winner of this race with an official time of 1 hour, 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Meanwhile, RoseCitySaint is dealing with Great Palace. He takes a drop. While ryin7 gets a payback in Palace 5, which is very painful for him. He's looking everywhere for that glove and, well, he is looking in the wrong places. So RoseCitySaint finding one of the rooms that usually is behind Thunderbird. I believe he made a bad choice because he didn't take the Eon drop, but I'm not sure because I'm seeing a lot of rooms that Error didn't explore. So he's gonna take a waffle room that tends to be a nightmare, but he casts the thunder spell and deals with those two chickens. Let's see how the other half of the room is. And there is a chicken waiting for him, because the bird is the word. We're gonna see if we are able to grab Error for an interview, while Thirwolf and RoseCitySaint finish the seed.
Alright, that was stressful.
Hey, GG Error. How did you find that seed?
How did I find that seed? Gut wrenching. Because I went through Palace 5 without Fairy. It's a lot harder to do the eco key on fast bubbles than it is slow one. And so I was concerned I'd still need Fairy and Great Palace or Palace 6 because I still hadn't done either of those. So that's why I ended up peeking in oh my gosh, Fairy Town for Fairy. I can't remember the proper name for it. But eventually I just decided to go for it and always take the Eon drop. So it took me right to Thunderbird, but then my heart skipped a beat when I saw the one Fairy blocked room in Great Palace right after Thunderbird. And I was fully expecting to find a dead end in Great Palace, going left and forcing me to go out and find Fairy. So out of curiosity, which spell was Fairy?
It was in the Jump Town in Ruto.
So I did have the trophy. So, but even though I was right by Ruto, I didn't actually go and pick it up.
Yeah, I think it paid off because in this moment RoseCitySaint and Thirwolf found on Great Palace, and I believe Unos I think those decisions paid off because, well, Fairy wasn't needed. It was a huge risk, but man, you took it, and well, you showed off with eco key room, so it was great. It was a great seed for you. I believe this was a very straightforward seed. However, it kind of gave the hints to the runners that items will be located in very hard to reach places, but well, items were very easy to find. So for example, RoseCitySaint explored Dead Mountain, and both items in Dead Mountain were useless. So there you go.
Well, I found one of the items in Death Mountain. I found the heart container really early in Death Mountain. But I didn't pick up very many of the palace items. Picked up a couple of them, but for the most part, I try and prioritize overworld items because it's generally a little bit easier to find the overworld items than it is to dig in palaces. But yeah, most things are pretty easy to find, and just a lot of stress about whether I'd need Fairy or not.
Yeah, for example, now RoseCitySaint is exploring the room that you didn't explore because you didn't have Fairy, so that paid off.
And he immediately found a dead end, so...
Of course he did. He's coming back from it. So, Yunus has finished in second place with a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes and 49 seconds. So, GG to Yunus. Also in this moment, Dick Shake is fighting Thunderbird. So he's a little bit behind two of the players we have featured today. Yeah, those lava rooms that have a lot of chickens are an instant fairy for me. They, I don't take chances in those rooms. They are a nightmare.
Well, that was stressful too. I don't know how I survived that room. There was the room with the three the bird knights on the collapsing bridge, and I somehow survived that room without fairy, because I would have ferried that immediately if I had it.
Yeah, it was a kind of fortunate thing that you didn't get fairy, so you showed us how to play this game the pro way, the professional way. So now RoseCitySaint is finding Dark Link. He's gonna fight him. So, and Ryan finally finds the glove at Maze Island, which he had already explored, but he didn't get the item. How hard? I didn't notice how hidden was the item, the glove in Maze Island.
I mean, it was close to the palace, so I guess not that hidden. And of course, I went there with the boots. The boots were relatively easy to find. I expect most people to have had the boots by the time they went east.
Yeah, some of them didn't. Like Thirwolf, I believe he didn't have the boots. So yeah, I believe that had to do with it. Also, the most players chose to do Palace 1 before exploring the rest of Maze Island. And Thirwolf taking a death in Eon drop. I believe he game overed because, or he dropped into a room that was very behind. I don't know, but he is in Eon room again. So GG to RoseCitySaint. Who
Anyway.
Finished in third place with a time of 1 hour 22 minutes and 8 seconds, and also GG to Jay Copper, who finished in fourth place with a time of 1 hour 23 minutes and 38 seconds, which was pretty close to RoseCitySaint. So GG's to those guys, and if they want to hop on, they are welcome.
Anyway, thanks for the commentary. Thanks for the restream. Time for me to get some sleep. So, thanks a lot.
No, congrats on winning the race, and thank you for showing us a lot of nice stuff about Zelda 2 and Zelda 2 Randomizer. So GG, Error. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as you can see, everyone took the ferry room, the ferry required room in Great Palace because they had ferry. So there goes the lack of Zelda 2 randomizers that sometimes makes you do some mistakes. Okay, and we got Big Shake, the creator of this randomizer, in 5th place with a time of 1 hour 25 minutes and 5 seconds, and Nierm has finished in 6th place with a time of 1 hour 25 seconds and 25 minutes and 27 seconds, so they were pretty close also. So this great palace looks like a nightmare if you don't do the right choices. Ryan getting into a waffle room. Yeah, Thirwolf is suffering in Great Palace. He has only one life and he is reaching Dark Link. Let's see if he beats Dark Link with one heart container and one magic container. Let's see. I hope he does. And yeah, I traveled to the future and saw in SRL that Thirwolf finished in 7th place with a time of 1 hour 27 minutes and 15 seconds. So GG to him. I don't want to make our audience suffer for him before he beats Dark Link. So GG to Thirwolf. So Ryan doing Palace 6. Okay, so we're waiting for RoseCitySaint to interview him about the seed. He finished in 3rd place and did greatly because he explored that mountain and he got 2 useless items, so it was a great run for him anyway. So Trails has finished in 8th place in a time of 1 hour 29 minutes and 10 seconds. So that's amazing for him because I believe it's the first time he does a sub 90 minutes in an official race. So he's another of the revelations of Zelda 2 Randomizer. He's getting very good these days. So it was a great run for him. So Ryan just defeated the mini boss of Palace 6, which was guarding the main boss, which is Barba, and let's see how Ryan kills this boss. Yeah, the music of this game is amazing. I really love it. I'm a musician, so it has inspired me a lot. It was made by a guy that they call Tsukazan, in a friendly way, but he has a longer name, which is... His name is Akito Nakatsuka. And well, it's notable that he's the only... Zelda 2 is the only game that has a different composer from Koji Kondo in the classic Zeldas. Okay, so we've got RoseCitySaint with us, so GG RoseCitySaint. And we were saying that you did a great job finishing this seed so quickly after exploring Death Mountain uselessly.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought this seed was pretty free, except again, when it gives you the magic key, it makes you work for Fairy. And I spent some time digging out Fairy, and the whole time I was praying that it would be required, but I guess it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. Error finished the seed without Fairy, and that helped him make some good decisions. For example, in Great Palace there was a room that required Fairy and led to a dead end, and he didn't take it, so he took the right way because of it.
I know, you can bet when I came across that room I was praying that was the correct path. I was disappointed to see it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the risks a winner has to take. Well,
yeah, that's happened to me a few times recently where I spent a little bit of extra time digging up Fairy or Downstab or whatever, and it's just not required, and I'm just waiting for when the day it is the day I finish higher in the race, but I still can't complain. I put together the rest of the seed in a pretty decent way.
Yeah, you did greatly all over the seed. You were even ahead of Error a lot of time, but the difference was that you did the shorter palaces early, and he did the longer palaces earlier. So well, at the end he finished the short palaces in a breeze, and well, he took over everyone. He got into Great Palace very quickly.
Absolutely. One of the things that had me concerned was my first time through the Eastern Continent, I couldn't find Palace 6. So I was kind of worried about how long was I going to have to dig for that. But then when I came back through the second time, I saw it on the other side of a mountain range, and I just said, oh, okay, so I know roughly where it is physically, and lo and behold, you could just walk to it. I just somehow missed it. It must have just been a couple tiles off my screen the first time.
Yeah, I believe the West was pretty hard to explore because, for example, Thirwolf got a lot of items in the East and beat some palaces before getting the boots and other items that were on the West.
Yeah, it was interesting too. I know Error won, and he finished in a very impressive time. All the rest of us are pretty closely bunched together. Shortly after I finished, they were coming in fast and furious. Several guys within a 5-minute span.
Yeah, that's it. Even Trails got in there.
Oh yeah, he was excited for sub 90.
I believe it's his first time on an official race, so that's great for him. This week he has been doing very well. He has beaten Thirwolf this week, and he has beaten some
he
very
finished
good
ahead
guys.
of a couple of very nice racers in this one, so GG to him. He's a tireless worker, always looking to improve.
Yeah, GG to him. So now Ryan is finishing not. He's exploring Great Palace. And how did you find this Great Palace? I believe it's kind of a punishing Great Palace.
It was somewhat long. I considered myself in go mode when I entered Palace 6, but then I left. If you noticed, I left just to go get the life spell because I was getting really beaten up in that first room. And I'm glad I did because GP would have beaten me up too. So it allowed me to play faster to go back and get that life spell. And this GP, I would call it on the longish side. It wasn't the longest one ever, but it was lengthy. And one good thing was that all the drops were all crammed together in the beginning, so you weren't forced to make an agonizing choice halfway through.
Yeah, I believe you're talking about the ferry required room that you had to go to the left for 2 rooms and go down, right?
Yeah, that was one drop, but like I remember just like maybe 3 or 4 rooms in, you had the Eon drop, and then there was a drop in the very next room too. And I took that second drop, which led me directly into drop number 3. So all those drops were linked. When I discovered that was incorrect, I went with the up and A, and I took the Eon, and that led me directly to T-Bird.
Yeah, that was vital, taking the Eon in this Great Palace. So yeah, it was kind of punishing. If you didn't make the right choice, it gave you long ways to find out that you made the wrong choice. So
yes, there was one room in particular that was incredibly difficult. It was after T-Bird. It was right toward the end. There was what we call a fun room that had 3 blue bird knights and a spicy chicken. And if I didn't have the fairy spell, even though it's not required, if I didn't have fairy spell, I don't know how I would have gotten through there.
Yeah, Error mentioned that he still can't believe he survived that room because it was a nightmare.
Yes, yeah. Other than ferrying, I guess you'd have to just simply get lucky and try to bunch them together and pogo over them, I suppose, or get them to jump over you somehow. But that's a death waiting to happen.
Yeah. So, for example, Ryan has been exploring Great Palace for like 5-6 minutes, and he just found Thunderbird. So, yeah, not taking the Eon drop is a very, very punishing move. So Link7777 has finished in 10th place with a time of 1 hour, 37 minutes and 19 seconds. Meanwhile, Ryan is fighting Thunderbird, and he's doing a great job manipulating his pattern.
Yeah, he's going with the textbook pendulum strat. Very nice.
So how did you feel with Death Mountain? I said that you should have been very salty in that moment.
Oh, I am very salty about Death Mountain always. In this case, though, the first item in the game you get was the hammer, and so that emboldened me to go check out Death Mountain. It made me want to go check it out a little bit. So I did, and I stumbled across Hammer Cave pretty easily. It only had a heart container, but like in a seed like this where survival was at a premium, I'm glad I found that heart. And then, having not seen where Spectacle Rock was, I left. And of course, a few minutes later, you get the boots, so I decided to go back, and the rock was right there on the coast. So at least Death Mountain was friendly this time around.
Yeah, I think you made the right choice getting the life spell before entering Great Palace. For example, Thirwolf game over 3 rooms away from Dark Link and had to do all the Great Palace over again, and he almost game over to Dark Link the second time. He finished with a heart container. So yeah, it was a non-friendly seed for beginners or for people that are in very good fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a somewhat tough decision to make. I think a few racers would be too macho or stubborn to go back for the life spell when they don't technically need it. But I just decided it's going to allow me to play faster in the long run, and I'm going to save more time than I waste going to get this spell. And I believe I was right.
Yeah, and it was kind of in the way, right? It was in Darunia, right?
Yeah, it was just a few steps away. I had to take a few overworld encounters, but yeah, Darunia was pretty near where Palace 6 was. So it really wasn't that big a concern.
Yeah, now Ryan is coming back from the very required room that led to a dead end, so...
Yeah, I had visions of first place dancing in my head when I saw that very required room, and then when I saw that it wasn't a thing, I said, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah, Error was scared as soon as he saw that room. But well, he kept digging and he got what he wanted. He also took Eon Drop without hesitating. He just dropped in there. So he kind of did all the right choices in this hit. Not taking Fairy, taking the Eon Drop, and yeah, no, those two things were pretty vital to finishing in first place. So Amazing Toaster has finished in 11th place with a time of 1 hour 40 minutes and 14 seconds.
GG to him. I think everyone is what I would pretty good times on the seed. This was not the easiest seed.
I believe it was kind of straightforward, but the seed gave you hints to look for things in difficult places, but every item was in the open. I believe all the items were in the overworld, I think.
Yeah, the overworld wasn't too terribly bad this time around, but I do feel like this was a more difficult than average seed combat-wise. I only came across a total of 6 heart containers, and I only topped out at life 6. And so with that in place, I found it pretty hard to survive.
Yeah, well, besides Great Palace, what do you find hard to survive? Only Great Palace or
6? I thought when I entered Palace 6, that's what made me turn around. That first room in Palace 6 was brutal. There was, I think 2 or 3 blue iron knuckles, and there was a doom knocker. And I think I died the first time through.
Yeah, you can. While you beat Palace 6, Error beat like 3 palaces in that time. So yeah, Palace 6 was kind of hard and long.
Yeah, exactly. That was the hardest part for me. Those two, GP and P6. The rest was pretty friendly. Getting the boots early allows you to do a lot of things to save time. You can avoid a lot of overworld encounters. You don't have to do as much cave diving. So it's a good sign that the seed will be fast when you get boots that early.
Yeah, also the flute was it was useless as always, but it was cool that you used it.
Did I use it? I don't remember doing that, but sounds right.
The first time you saw the River Devil, you used it to get to the sea in the right side. So yeah, you used it. Now Ryan is finding Dark Link, and he's gonna finish this Sith, which has given him nightmares. He explored Maze Island for the first time and didn't get the second item, so he went to dig for all the palaces before getting back to Maze Island and finding the glove. So that was very, very, very unfortunate for him.
And just on a side note, it's not related to anything, but this GP had an awful those rooms where the bubbles rise up out of the floor, or the bullets, or whatever you call them.
Yeah, and those floors are very, very low, so you can't even see them sometimes. They just hit you all the time. So GG to Ryan, who finished in the 12th place with a time of 1 hour 45 minutes and 20 seconds, which is an amazing time for everyone that did sub 2 hours. So it was a great race. Okay, so the race is finished. Congratulations on finishing this seed quickly after exploring an useless death mountain. So that was very, very good. And yeah, GG to everyone, GG to RoseCitySaint. And well, we'll see you on the semi-weekly that we're gonna have on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll also wait you here again in Speed Gaming with the semi-weekly we're gonna have on Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern. So thank you very much for watching the Zelda 2 Randomizer semi-weekly race. And well, I hope to see you again soon.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, Speed Gaming, and thank you for the commentary. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.